I'm Colby Birch from Seward, Nebraska, and I'm judging the junior market lambs and breeding ewes at the 2021 Arizona National. That perfect market lamb, I could describe some traits. They're high-headed, they're cocky looking, they're tall-fronted, neat underline, good spine, good hip and back leg, round in their cage, and they just balance good. Just have a look about them that draws you in, and they're sound and pliable in their skeleton, and they stay together good in motion. They look good while moving, would be the best way to summarize it. The perfect breeding ewe for me would be basically the same as a market lamb, except for a hint more femininity, and I study skull feature for their neck shape, things of that nature. My top showmanship advice would be just to show with confidence, to show in a way that maximizes the positive features of the sheep. Not every market lamb or ewe, in my opinion, needs to be shown the same way. Some of them might be extremely muscular and they may not require what I call a power brace. They might need more of a finesse brace. They can be presented in different ways. In order for an exhibitor to get a fair look, they can help their cause by making sure that their sheep are extremely well trained. My recommendation would be, if you can, is to do a lot of walking by hand in preparation for the show, half a mile to a mile every day. The best advice that I could give is just work hard and do your best. And I think that that's sort of the mantra that we live by. I don't care if it's whatever your academics or stepping in the ring and showing livestock, whatever you're pursuing in life that's meaningful, it's worth giving it everything you have. I'm Colby Birch from Seward, Nebraska, and I'm judging the junior market lambs and breeding ewes at the 2021 Arizona National. That perfect market lamb, I could describe some traits. They're high-headed, they're cocky looking, they're tall-fronted, neat underline, good spine, good hip and back leg, round in their cage, and they just balance good. Just have a look about them that draws you in, and they're sound and pliable in their skeleton, and they stay together good in motion. They look good while moving, would be the best way to summarize it. The perfect breeding ewe for me would be basically the same as a market lamb, except for a hint more femininity, and I study skull feature for their neck shape, things of that nature. My top showmanship advice would be just to show with confidence, to show in a way that maximizes the positive features of the sheep. Not every market lamb or ewe, in my opinion, needs to be shown the same way. Some of them might be extremely muscular and they may not require what I call a power brace. They might need more of a finesse brace. They can be presented in different ways. In order for an exhibitor to get a fair look, they can help their cause by making sure that their sheep are extremely well trained. My recommendation would be, if you can, is to do a lot of walking by hand in preparation for the show, half a mile to a mile every day. The best advice that I could give is just work hard and do your best. And I think that that's sort of the mantra that we live by. I don't care if it's, whatever, your academics or stepping in the ring and showing livestock, whatever you're pursuing in life that's meaningful, it's worth giving it everything you have.
McGibbon with us to lead us in our national anthem.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the most bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Laura. Outstanding. All right. We're going showing. This is our first class AOBs, including Dorsey and Bank.
Really good class to go with this morning. Pretty wild looking what you can feel off. Feel it. Deep butted, round body, up fronted, pretty athletic looking. I'm not 100% sure of the age on these heels, but that's a really look like that. That's pretty crazy looking. Really nice. Pretty cool. The one expected is obviously a little broody, a little softer range, a little feminine looking in her body type. She is smooth and kind of a turtle, but also a little bit deeper in terms of her chest. Like a we're on just a smidgen. The next one in line is a big outline view. It's called fronted. She is level. I would like to correct her underline balance to get her up or not. Young man has a 19 round out class. It's good in terms of her body condition. Level down across T2. You need to be able to cross her in her abdominal depth in order to balance out her underline. Good class.
Penguin from California, Eddie Bird from California, followed by Lady Jones, Kelly Johnson, and Nathan Kelly. Class 2, AOB the ring now. Class 2, AOB the ring. After this, we will have our AOB drive. And it will fall right into our canvas, I believe. Judge, we have one more entry. Dorset exhibitors, you need to be to the staging area. Dorset exhibitors to the staging area.
Awesome class. I think the first two are actually pretty close. Young lady did an awesome job of getting that thing popped up and showing her off, and that makes it even closer to be right with you. This is just keeping the frontal line. I just prefer her body type to around her case, a little shorter or distance. Top of her leg with sternum, and that one is also just a little bit more pronounced in the shape of her stifle. So altogether, that makes her better looking from the side because the balance is just a little bit sharper to look at. She's pretty good in motion. You could argue and say that she's just a little bit harder in terms of her abdominal depth, and the one back here is a touch softer in that regard. It doesn't have that flame wool energy, just naturally a little bit deeper back there. Young lady does a good job of setting her up and getting her, making her look really neat in her neck and her head. She walks around the ring, she's up fronted. I read her as a bit deep, as a bit pronounced in her breastplate when we get her out in motion. She's a bit flatter or oval shape in terms of her forerib. That's a really high quality peridome. I think there's a lot of good that she's in third, that she's extremely short bladed, shallow chested, she has the appropriate side view look, where she plays out and plays her height, and she's just simply sure her kids and more pronounced in her cycle shape to go in front of her. A really good class over top to bottom. You want to compliment the young man. She was a very nice lamb in terms of her design. It's looking a little small out here in this good view. Good class.
And then we will now have our AOB drive. Dorset, you should be to the staging area. Dorset to the staging area. We are now in our AOB drive.
I think we'll over like Silver.
Congratulations to our winners in that last flight from Ladies, and then 22, followed by Amy Costa, celebrating widely on Justin, and now our champion line from our first ride.
Got one you and one no.
A third and Lindsay both from California and from our previous class, and in the first class. Our judge today is first. He was Nebraska. For that livestock industry.
Let's do like 2 other notes and I go.
Great way to get things started off this morning with a really competitive set of youth out here. I hope you're impressed. I know that I am. The one in the first class has things about her that are extremely unique and special, right? I mean, the way that one parades around the ring, tall fronted, rounded her cage, that type of crisp, pronounced muscle shape makes that one pretty special. Are there things we can tweak? Absolutely. Probably, to me, if we're going to change a couple areas from back leg, there is a hint of step there. He is a little bit round, or you could say, in terms of maybe a bit terminal in her muscle state, it also makes her special at the same time. But in terms of the one that parades around the ring, up fronted, radical in her muscles, down her feet, they're still pretty sound, pretty nice. The U-Lam, I don't know what age exactly she is, I guess the U behind her is extremely smooth pattern. Maybe her lines, her flank, her abdominal depth is slightly better. Smooth pattern. The U-Lam with a good back leg. Maybe doesn't get out of her front end quite as unique or quite as tall fronted, not quite as appealing in that regard, and not quite as pronounced in terms of her muscularity. Reasonably close there, but to me the most special and different one in the group is the one out of the first class. So your champion. Congratulations. There's a lot to admire and appreciate about the unit that comes in second. Just the body type. It looks female, it looks maternal. She strikes me as the kind that would make potentially a very good brood view. Smooth in her makeup, sound in her makeup. At the same time, she's a little bit deeper sided for me. I personally would like her to be just a little bit shallower in terms of her chest, shorten her leg length a little bit, and that's where the one out of the second class has that advantage. She just has a little more appealing and more athletic look, particularly to her front third. We're going to make her reserve division. Congratulations.
Good. Oh, I just texted you. The judge.
Momentarily. Single entry in our next class.
I think this one will win it. I think it's kind of drawn in because for this young lady's done a nice job of getting her legs pointed in, extremely nice. Good job of getting the propped up. So you just found surrounded the cage. There's a lot of positive attributes around for us to look at. Congratulations.
With their hand on the horse's drive.
Well, he started, but
They ordered this, the exhibitors brought them in. The young ladies used this at the photo line. It's just a little bit crisper in her composition, a little bit leaner in her composition, and simultaneously a little muscular. I think she's called funded level at her top, which is a really nice back leg. She does need to be correcting her underline. Aside from that, I think that's a very nice cue. You could argue and say, well, the young man she was second, there's more to her, bigger body, she's higher performing. I would agree with absolutely 100% of that. Personally, for me, I'd like her to be leaned down, just go to altered in her composition in order to get around the other. Good pair. Thanks for bringing them out.
Silverton, California.
Classes in school make me feel like I'm in a judging contest here. If this was a judging contest class for me, I think I guess the way it sorts or comes apart is there's a winner, and then, maybe a little more of a decision in the middle and right down the line, and a lot of good that the young ladies do to round out the class, but you think that's the difference. I think balance is the key difference here. I think you the wins this skill is just more correct in her line, and just presents more balanced look to the side. She's the stoutest in her feature, at least has the most fluff in order to present the illusion of bone and diameter. She's one to get around the ring nicely and sound. Can you correct her in a couple areas? Absolutely. Her pace, her pin could be, her pace could be rounder, her pin could be a little bigger, but, I guess being a breeding female, we're not quite as critical of that. Again, it's a matter of soundness and balance. The U in second is more shapely. You can see she's more pronounced to the center part of her leg. She's bigger in her rack and has a bit more strain or rib. Again, balance-wise, not quite as good. Her body length is not quite as optimal as the winner. Her flank cuts up just a freckle, and most of she doesn't present herself quite as nicely, but she is around this body most pronounced in her cycle state. In the group, a tremendous amount of good initial ladies here. Maybe the biggest volume team in the group, really broody. We'll leave her out the most, you can see the ladies doing a good job trying to stretch the middle of the back, trying to push it back. She does want to come up in her spine, simultaneously she drops her sternum. This doesn't present a her look or her balance is good in most cases. Young lady, I appreciate the fact that this one, the fourth here is really true with her competition. Lean in her presentation, there's a lot of positive things to be said for that. She just doesn't have as much stoutness, or at least appear to be a stouter feature as some of the sheep above. Good class.
I'm headed over there now. Wearing
California Henry Brady Galindo won that last class, followed by Montana native Kenny Tedeschi, Allison Rosenberg, or Allison Roberts of Roseburg, Michigan, and Bailey Ned of Cody, Iowa. We now have our Georgia Drive.
I was like, done.
Peyton Sykes, Placerville, California. Adam Bernard, Nathan Silver of Silverado, California. Belinda, Stadium Smith. Our judge today is Tony Burke, Seward, Nebraska. A very long and very stellar career and leads at Livestock Training, a member of 5 of 7 national and junior college contests. Member of the Iowa State Reserve National Championship team. Alumni of Iowa State. Evaluated our stock yesterday in our market lab. Glad to have him here this morning with us. Let's give a big round of applause for Seward, Nebraska. Head Club for Men President, Tony Burke. Hampshires, you need to be in the staging area. Hampshires to the stage. Hampshires and Suffolk to the staging area. Hampshires and Suffolk to the staging area.
Probably instead of going to Air Club men, I'm definitely not impressed with this, but as far as the TBW goes out here, I think these two directly in front of me are the two that are the most in contention. The advantages or disadvantages that I see the young lady in the middle, she is probably, to me, in terms of body length, she is more optimal in her length of side. She's probably a little more pronounced in the shape of her stifle, the curvature of that stifle. She actually has a little more to her with the step behind her, and maybe that would be no surprise to you. The downside is because it's a major take, you measure the top of the leg and the sternum, you measure from the hook to her leg, that measurement will be off, right? The balance is just a little bit off. If you come back here, and this one's measurement will be just a little bit closer to right. The lines will parallel and will correct. She is a little bit stouter, at least she has that more of that tail bottom look in terms of her leg, her bone work from the side, and then she parades around the ring, and she, in particular, in motion, appears to be more balanced. Very close. I like several things about all these shoes out here, but balance and eye feel, particularly in motion, is what I'm really drawn to. I like the young man shoe here who wins the division. Congratulations. You're very close to the good. Good job. From here, we go on the remainder of our top 5. Obviously, the two in the back line was put forward for consideration. I do think it's a fairly close race once again. I just think there's enough uniqueness in terms of the shape of ribs. This one here has some outline features. The shape of ribs, the shape of the wood, and things of that nature can contribute to the breed. But we're going to make sure third overall. This is one out here. The colored one will drive the third overall and finish out the top 5 of the second. Congratulations.
We'll have a place shortly. Now entering the ring, we'll start on Suffolk and Hampshire. In the ring now, Mason Taylor, this guy.
think there's a lot to admire. It's young man, competition, and from the production side, I think body condition certainly there's a lot of things to be discussed in terms of body condition and production. I think that is really appropriate in that regard for muscular riding kids. So there's a lot of positives here. We appreciate the work they're doing for us to look at tonight.
Congratulations, Mason Taylor.
I think that I'm gonna go to California.
Brady Joindo, we got champion, Adam Zerlock, third overall, Sydney Thompson, and thanks as they were stated. Follow the answers in the ring now. You have the second one. Age range in this class could be January 21 through July 21. 7 head in this class, good? January to July, spring to July. Southbound to the holding area. Southbound, come on in. Southbound to the holding area.
class of amateur females here. Honestly, that last circle there was just to try to break down the second and third placing. I like that you went the you at first there a fair amount, and I'm betting that most people do. I think that she's the best of every world out here, right? She's pretty good in terms of her framework, but at the same time, she's opened up and pretty beefy in terms of the width of grid, the spread down her top, the width of her pin, the volume of cycle, shape, the amount of stoutness she has. She still gets about the range, kind of parades around the way we like, maintains her composure, and she maintains her balance extremely well. I think she is the easiest place to start. And she is in second and third, and it's a little bit closer. And this may sound just a little bit of a simple idea. That means a bit small in time, right? But at the same time, I think she's making a slightly better time. Mainly, she's stouter at the ground. She better maintains her spine levelness as she goes. And you're second behind her, and I think she's truly bigger to her pins. Just a unit, just those advantages make her a slightly better stalk in my mind, even though she's a bit small in time. Very pretty, very feminine, extremely high quality. I think she's shallow and up-fronted, very feminine in her skull features, her neck diameter is appropriate. Her feet are a little bit small. When she walks about the ring, she likes to glide a little bit. She pulls her top up, and that's distracting. And she's not quite as big not quite as big in terms of her size, from side to side when you step behind her. But I love the quality of that heel. There's a lot of good in all these females from top to bottom. Appreciate you bringing me there.
We're glad the results of our Suffolk and Hampshire Drive tournament, and we'll move right on in. Congratulations to Wacker, Oklahoma native Aubrey Rexwingle. Taking first, second, and third. Fourth place goes Thea Rexwingle, Angel Martinez, and Samantha Davis.
All right, so the top two here, I think it's just a matter of balance. It's focusing, chest to navel and on into their tight gut distribution of underline is what it comes down to. Beyond the fact that these two animals just stouter feature, maybe a little wider weight. So multiple advantages, there's a lot of good there. But we're going to go 1 and 2 out of this second class for Brandon goes to back.
We'll have the results of our southdown and Suffolk Drive momentarily. Now starting in with the southdown. You have the southdown mediated staging area. First class single entry. Casey Bransfield of Valley Springs, California.
Well, this one puts a smile on my face. When I think southdown keep, I think it's kind of little muscular keep. and that one kind of fits the bill. She's very tidy, if you will. I think her type and kind is that of what you would consider traditional down, muscular, basically she has her hips and stifle. Yeah, her framework is a little small, but that's the breed for you, so that's perfectly acceptable in my opinion. A nice, I'm assuming and expecting more to come in the ring, but that one is definitely going to look at consideration for the division. That's a nice piece. Thank you.
Congratulations to our winners in the supplement. Our champion Aubrey Rex followed by Rex and Nathan Taylor. Now we're going southbound. Southbound, you should be to the staging area. Southbound to the staging area. Certainly we'd like to recognize our sponsors, Agrodime, All Flex, Already Elliott Program, Bell, Tuesday, Routine Weather Signal, Emerald Livestock with entire power system, Grand Jam, on the ground, directly from the baseball, and the livestock. JBS Sackerland, the livestock field supply, is driven by the manufacturer, Sawyer, Livestock of Ohio, Golden Supply, Tractor Supply, Weaver Livestock, Radio Livestock System, United Livestock Choice, Leggett, and Spencer Company Auctioneer.
Another fun class to go through here. Southdowns are a very interesting breed. We dabble with these Southdowns ourselves. A second ago, we looked at one that was pretty traditional in her type and kind, kind of a little bit muscular. And I've learned that after dabbling for a few years with downs, there's a lot of differences within a breed to keep. Traditionally, some of them are a little bit mellowy, if you will, in their composition. This one is a little bit that way, right? It's a little bit marshmallowy, if you will, in terms of their composition. However, it's very cool to look at. That one's parading around the ring, high-headed, extremely thin, big-legged, pronounced in terms of her body. She just is a good-looking, very feminine one. There's so much quality there that she has to be first. Can I lean her up a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. We make her a little more pronounced in her skin and her expression of muscle, I think so. But again, quality is extremely good there. This is an awfully nice view. No joke, and you probably know that. She is probably more appropriate. Her body condition, her rib cage is good. It's a matter of quality. It's a matter of talent for me to set that one in second. Nice pair. Thanks for bringing it to the ring.
Winners in that last class, Jacqueline Petrie, followed by Ephraim Fowler of Silver, Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, if you make your way to the other barns, we do have a rodeo celebrity in our midst. Mr. Gary Rosenbush is with us, a 1981 National Finals cowboy, competing in the Saddle Bronc and the Fairback. He's with us today, signing autographs.
I understand the one here that, for me, wins this deal is not the single biggest one in the group. But again, they're South Downs. That's okay to me. I don't think they have to be huge because that one is just, I'm not going to lie, I think that one is really, really good. I think that one's exceptional. I think her lines are tremendous for hitting back leg, particularly for it. I mean, come on, that thing is big chin, flat voice, parallel in her line. Stouter her features, trimmer rusted, neater her lower shoulder, and her underline balance is probably a little neater. That's a very nice kid. I think that's the breed type is actually, you know, I don't consider myself a Southdown breed type aficionado. That one's breed type is probably a little better too. This is an offer that I'd be awfully proud to own. I think he can do a lot for the Southdown breed. He's muscular, he has some width of ribs, shape rack, wood shape. Pretty good skeletally, pretty dang close. And there's some little things though, right? Her breastplate, her lower shoulder when we walk her just looks a hint pronounced. Her underline is just slightly off. Her bone working is quite as big as lamb that leads off. It's not as flat, correct out to her jaw as the lamb that leads off. That's a really good pair of views. Both pieces can offer some improvement for the Southdown breed. Good female. They're very pretty young lady. I told you when I placed it, that's one of the really good ones in the class. She too can offer a lot of good for the Southdown breed. Big rack, stouter feature, flat hip. Her underline is big. People maybe she doesn't balance distinctly as the one in front. The one in fourth I want to make mention of because that's a good looking sheep. You talked about one with the style and the quality from the side. She though, unfortunately, we got behind her, her chin and her stocking plate out. I wish she was a little bit bigger back there when we get her higher in the class. Good group from top to bottom. Thanks for bringing it out.
Breed going set on last flag, so Southdown, Shelby Whittling, ladies and gentlemen, in that flag, followed by Red State, followed by Oregon native Addison Turbo, Oklahoma, having Aiden Recordable, Eastern Valley of Ohio, Sally South, Brooklyn, Mexico, and Kinsley, England, Ridley, California. Thank you, got every time zone involved in that last class. Congratulations to those winners. Now having our Southdown drive with our judge evaluation of the day, Mr. Colby Burke.
So my take on this Southdown drive is if I could be a person that dabbles with Southdown, if I could take all these home, I would. I think they're all a little different, but I think they're all awfully good. The that wins our first class, probably the tight end, if you will, if you can follow what I'm saying there, just kind of a little stately feet. Thought it did there, maybe not some of the bells and whistles that we have in some of the classes that come after her, but that is good stock. I was proud to know that you would have that one in my flock. The ewe that comes out of the second class here, she has some very unique features to this ride. Her fluff and her substance. She parades around the ring, very attractive and high-headed, extremely feminine. Her competition, though, if I just rate them on competition, fat muscle ratio, she's probably the fifth in this class. She is the heaviest in her body. She is probably closest the most to her kin. We could just alter that, but at the same time, she's probably the classiest looking one, or as classy as any parade around the ring. So makes for an interesting decision looking at that deal. The one that honestly probably hit me the hardest is the unit that comes out of the last class. I think that one is exceptional. I think she's good looking. She does things that most Southdowns just don't do, and she fits in flat boy, is still shallow chested. Her muscle shape is real big, particularly for a breeding yield. And again, it's a little bit smaller in time, but to me, she fits the deal perfectly. She's still very tidy. I think that one is extremely high end. She'll be the attention. Congratulations. So the unit that comes right behind her, I think she does a lot of things that are pretty special for the Southdowns breed. And I think, in spite of those minor criticisms from a second ago, where she is better than that one, and I think she offers some things, because really frankly, just her true, taste of rack, her loin, style, and expression, she's just leaner in her composition. She still gets out with some style and quality. The biggest thing once again is the fact that she's a little leaner in the body, condition, more expressive in her muscle, that makes this one reserve back. So as we go on down the line, I think it's a very close decision here. I'm not going to let the young lady stand any longer here with this good-looking one to make her third overall in this division. Congratulations. It's a really tight deal. We'll go forward back to that.
Attention in the barn, we need the reserve Dorset. And white lady we will have our overall drive right quick. So once everybody gets rounded up here in the staging area, we'll have this drive. Thank you all for being prompt and getting to the staging area. That's our show round so much better. If you have the reserve Dorset ewe, we would like for you to participate in our drive. The reserve Dorset ewe. We need you to the staging area. We're waiting on you. Last call, reserve Dorset ewe. Addison Zerboff. Addison Zerboff. Reserve Dorset ewe. We need you to the staging area. Now heading our drive. This is our champion drive. Brady Galindo. Covering third in our AOBs and our reserves was Hannah Blackford. Our endorsements, Brady Galindo and Allison Zubach. Our Hampshire Summit, Aubrey Rexworth and Avery Rexworth. And our South Downs, Shelby Lindley and Rose Baby. This is your champion drive. We'll follow this by the weather down. If you have a weather down, you need to check in and you will be waiting. Our top line South Down, Shelby Whitley of Texas, Rose Davies, Jacqueline Catherine Hetry, Stacey Bradfield, and Susan Fowler. So we got South Down. Judge will be placing all 8 of these overall. Like to thank our sponsors today, Tractor Supply, Solar Supply, Cimarron Grader, 4 years Coach Scott, Weaver Leather Supply, Fish Company on Stage. Weather down. You should be to the staging area. You need to wait these, so weather down. You need to be to the staging area.
fun set of youths to sort through and make some decisions. Briefly, some comments about each one of these views in consideration. We'll talk the front line here. I believe this is Dorset Advantage view here, if I'm not mistaken, in the front line. You could argue and say she has some of the most special and unique features of the entire four. She is the most defined and bulging, if you will, in terms of her muscularity. Her back and her glutes are large. Her page is circular. She parades around the ring up fronted, loose and free and long and correct in her front leg stride. She could be, at the same time, she's a bit terminal. Her muscle is a good thing, and maybe to me, a little sound, and maybe a touch, particularly for a female, although we are making weapons for these things, and we expect it to be muscular, right? So, again, she's a little round, maybe her abdomen is a touch hard, her back leg, there is a hint of sex, if we're just real frank about it. But that one is unique and special in a lot of ways. A really solid, I think so much about the Dorset view, she's just sound, she's balanced, and to me that's priority one and priority two. They need to be good looking, they need to be good moving, and she does those things. But frankly, when I step behind her, she lives the flattest cycle speed, the narrowest in her pin. Competitionally of these four, she ranks fourth. So when we come back down here from the hand, that's a good balanced one. She checked all the boxes in that drive. I thought she was a standout. Her balance is correct, her shape of ring is correct, hip and back leg presentation is good. When I watch her move around the ring, she probably runs downhill just a little bit. I'd like that one to be more elevated. Her front stride is not quite as true, probably. I like them to be perfectly linear as they go. It's a little bit off that perfect line when she travels to that front leg. She could be slightly better. Her front end is a little bit taller. That's been off the critical one that I think is very complete, very correct in so many ways. As interesting of a sheet that we talked about, I've ranted and raved about this little gal down here in the Southdown Drive. She does have a true criticism that I've not, pointed out. But you think it's a little more apparent. She does pull her loin up just a little bit, and I wish she would just truly set down just a little bit better in the middle of her back. That does bug me a little bit, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I think that one is pretty unique and pretty interesting to look at. Her balance, her loin shape is very good. Her pin width is good. She's slim in her neck. I look at things like neck shape. I look at skull feature a little bit. I think that she has the appropriate neck diameter, just the appropriate amount of stoutness, the feminine skull feature. Her balance is excellent. Skeletally, I don't know if any of this is quite perfect, and so we just say, well, the fact that her top folds up, it's a little bit of a wash because they all be tweaked a little bit. Their skeleton, which one has the most, overall uniqueness, but is yet the closest to fall free. So it is a pretty close race here. I'm going to go out and shake the hand and consider hold the one I like best. Go ahead and give him a round of applause.
Congratulations to Kelly Lindley, Lakeview, Texas, our champion Southdown exhibitor, and Lindley and our reserve champion Southdown now moving up for contention. Rose Davies.
So I say number 2.
Johnny.
Shortly, and we'll start with our first class of weather dams. As soon as we crack the gate and they go showing, we'll have our class 2.
Jimmy.
We'll have our class 2 be played.
A little bit of a rodeo.
Oh, always. It's a cheap show. Best part sometimes.
Gotta have entertainment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Judge, your weight range in this class is 83 to 107. Class 2 weather dams, you need to be to the staging area and get ready to weigh. Our results in that last drive. Kelby Lindley of Texas, followed by Haley Bird, Rose Davies, Aldrin West, Winkle, Brady Galindo, Hannah True, Aiden Rex and Harrison Zerlot.
class weather dance. I think the one in first, we talk about lean and green, and that one is absolutely free of an ounce of fat. And I'm using this one based on her skeleton, based on her back leg. I know she looks just a little bit abdominally at the moment, but that thing is going to probably be nothing but soften up in due time. Skeletally, I read her as good as any in the entire group. Fluid-wise, step behind her, that thing has a monster hip. A little bit tighter in terms of her eyes, and down here on her legs, a little bit lighter in her leg wool color, which is appealing to me. I just read her as the highest quality one with some of the most unique features. The one in second just kind of follows that. T2 is a straight lean, and TS is jump muscle working in there that hasn't screwed up. But I just think she's down and really correct and has the shape. She's a little bit longer in her rib, flatter in her rib, relative to the one that leads off at the end. She knows she's doing the right to jump muscle to be a little bit less pronounced in her. I think she's the either second one relative to the Lewis appearing to you in third. Who is very true to make a huge further along in her presentation. The body position allows her to be smoother and kind, and that's a very high quality view. But when you watch them, she just looks really successful, straight and weighted. That's why we get her down into third. Kind of good in the view in fourth or stages there. Her tail set is very appealing. Just kind of comes out like a shell that she's up there. This human being has set her back legs. Her feet are a bit smaller. Her hips will lift up and drop quite as free there. This is a solid, one that's shorter body, balance. But when you watch this one, it gets a bit deeper and cleaner for me. Good class to top and bottom.
Congratulations to California's Marion Woodlow, followed by Edward Everett, Austin Evans from Exuded, Vivian Dugan, Jason Mack, Claire Toppenberger, Elvin Brassfield, Lauren Fulton, Blackwood, James Cohen, and Lee Sawyer. Class 3 weather downs. You need to leave the staging area so we can get you weighed. Class 3 weather downs. Staging area so we can get you weighed. Class 3 weather downs to the staging area. Class 3 weather downs. Attention in the barn. If you had a doe, and their tag number is EKB0018, she was trying to escape the fairgrounds, but we do have her pin and pin E3. So if you are missing a doe, not a ewe, a doe, that's a doe. For you people that don't know, she's in pin E3. You lost your doe, we found her, she's in pin E3.
She's trying to eat this. Thank you.
Did you get that on video? She called her mama smart. That'll never happen again. Well, it's on video then. It is.
So for me, the ewe lamb that wins does so, from the get-go. I was really taking an extra second there. The one in second and the one in third are pretty different, and I think there's give and take, and we'll discuss those here in a second. The winner just kind of combines everything here. She's pretty well good. There's some little things you can tweak here and there, but when they get around the ring with look, it draws you in, being high-headed, it's all fronted, body length. Her underline is close enough to even and form. It's fairly lean and correct compositionally with good enough, in terms of her pins are close enough, even though they're not crazy wide. Her back leg could be maybe a hint better, but it's still pretty close. So I think that one just kind of checks all the boxes. Pretty good looking, pretty well balanced. She's better looking maybe than the one in second parading around the ring. Her body length's more appropriate than the one in third, things like that. She just combines all those things. The one in second, ultimately when I decided, that one just looks more like our winner here. So I feel like they need to stay together. She has some angularity from her underline. She truly is probably the biggest Lloyd one that has the most pin width. She strikes me, the downside there is she strikes me as a little plain as we get her around the ring. Maybe her hip rolls just a little bit. Maybe we can take that wool back there behind her navel down a little bit tighter. tighter, make it a little more discreet. But I think, again, that pair kind of sticks together. Young lady, you've got a really unique UM here. Her light colored light wool draws me in. She parades around the ring really good. She's high-headed, she's jet level. What really kind of that makes me not like this one quite as well is her body length and the fact she's a little bit shotgun middle. I'd like to shorten her rib and drop her abdomen down just a bit, and I think we can get her up the line possibly, and we could lower her pin slightly. A really solid sheep here. I looked at this sheep at one point in time and I thought, why in the world would I like her better? And then when we get her out in motion, she does rock her chest and her balance doesn't look quite as good. Very shapely, very correct. A real solid type of sheep to round out the top five. A lot of good, reasonably sound. She has some body and some mass. Her balance would be just a little bit better. Good class from top to bottom. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Yuma, Arizona native Taylor Haynes, followed by Hadley Owens of Torrington, Wyoming. Marin Ludlow, Oliver Cole, Lane Warner, Wesley Stewart, Paige Gomez Priest, Kinsley Freeman, Gavin Bowman, and Dally Burwell.
Makes them keep it off a little bit. I'd put it up right now.
Judge, your weight range is 115 to 119. 115 to 119. Class 3, weather downs and ribs. Class 4, weather downs. Class 4, weather downs. You need to be in the staging area. Class 4, weather downs. The staging area. If you are interested in merchandising your animals, the bid sheets are due to the customer service office, which is the red office toward the food court. Those are due by 4 o'clock today. The prices are very, very stout. So this is the next step in your project. You need to have those papers filled out and turned in to customer service. That's the red mobile office in near the food court. At 4 o'clock is the deadline. Thank you. Class 4, weather downs. You need to be to the staging area so you can get ready.
Okay, hold on.
The price on goats is $3 per pound, and sheep are $2.30. Very competitive. Class 4 weather downs, you need to leave the staging area. Last call, Class 4 weather downs.
Come on, I'm right behind you.
The decision for me is between second and third, and I feel like I'm going against maybe type with that pair, but I'll discuss that in detail in a second. I think the winner here, even though maybe she tucks her kids a little bit when she walks, that back leg when she walks can be just a little choppy, she has to win. It's a wide margin of victory in my opinion. Good body, good flank, good balance, still pretty tall fronted. Her neck diameter is appropriate for a female. Her skull feature is excellent. She opens up with a good spread down from the backside view. It's really good back leg presentation, nice toe size as well, good female. The one next in line, I love a lot of things about her. This one comes great in the ring, hot-headed, really good looking, and there's a lot to be said in terms of her body condition, right? She's really lean. I mean, that one is freak fat, but also detrimental because she's a little bit harsh in her abdomen. She could be filled out more around her tail if she's a little bit fatter. But I think just in terms of skeletal quality, correctness of set, of joint angles, frontedness, particularly the way she handles her hip and back leg freely going and keeps her loin down more readily. That's what gets this really white featured one up here in the second. Now, from a true balance standpoint, progression of depth, from sternum to navel to hindgut, the 1 and 3 is better than the 1 and 2. There's no doubt about it. She does something a bit awkward when she travels, though. She kind of pulls her back up, squats her hip down, pulls those back legs in. I wish she just was truer in terms of the way she got out. I stepped behind her. She could be bigger pinned and bigger stifled as well. That's very nice to look at from the side. It makes the decision extremely close. Solid sheep here in fourth in terms of balance, levelness, pin width. That's a good sheep. I just want to drape that one in wool from her knee to her toes and from her hock to her toes, and then give her more white feature in her eye channel, in particular on her forehead. It's a really nice sheep. The one down here is 5. We talk about just stout everywhere. Stout in terms of her bone work, her rib, her loin. We just like to screw her up and pretty her up to get her up more. Good fight.
Congratulations to Roseburg Order and Ashley Purbar, followed by Mary Over, Sarah Nadia Schuster, Mason Kelly, Yana Nelson, Ashley Trumpetson, Ruby Morris, Paige Bowen, Henry Rude, and John Nelson. Class 4, weather down, now interviewing Class 4, weather down. That's your weight range is 123 to 130.
Perfect. This
If you had a first or second place weather down in class 1, 2, or 3, we need you to the staging area. First and second place, class 1, 2, and 3 to the staging area. Weather downs, you need to be to the staging area. This is the last call. First and second place out of class 1, 2, and 3. Weather downs, you need to be to the staging area. Also, if you were a division or reserve division champion in the lamb show or the goat show, you need to be here for your grand drive. We'll take you to a different building, but you need to be here and staged at 3 o'clock for the lambs and 3:15 for the goats. That's 3 o'clock for the lambs, 3:15 for the goats. We'll meet here. We'll go to our other area for the grand drive. Don't be late. Don't miss that.
Two lambs that I would be very proud to be a part of that are extremely nice. They all have aspects that you could make an argument. I just told the young lady who's lamb in second. That's my favorite one as they parade around the ring, the highest headed one. She does dip a little, there's some things there. The one that leads off the deal can be just a little softer there in her abdomen. She leans away from the young men when she travels around the ring. But I think she's the most dynamic one in the group. Her is exceptionally robust. Her hip and stifle is just out there, and I think that her positions her joints and her ankles exceptionally well. In terms of proportionality, she's good, short-sided, just extremely dynamic. Again, balance and structure, white feature, the slam in second's good. Her pins are what trouble me, is the narrowest in that regard, dips a little bit down his shoulder. The U-Lamb in third, you could argue and say that she is stronger, 6 inches backside of her blade, her pins are bigger in motion. To me, she ranks third. Her blade angle is a little bit forward, she runs downhill slightly, her full ring can be corrected, rounded up, and shallowed up just a little bit. I actually dig the one in fourth a fair amount, and I know big picture you step back and think, gosh, that thing is harsh or blank and high gut, but that thing from a quality standpoint is giraffe neck, flat hips, and has a pretty back leg. Her cage is round, her pins are big. She just needs to be a little softer in her abdomen. I think there's a lot of dynamic feature. Make that one right, and holy Toledo, you could have an awfully nice one. And you can make the argument the one in fifth is softer in her abdomen and her balance is extremely good. It's the little things young ladies make a difference here. Her loin's a little off, her leg will presentation, being frank about it. She's a little flattened out or has lost some of that leg roll. And in motion, just isn't striking as some of the ones that precede her. Good class though, really competitive, probably the most competitive group we've looked at in the U show thus far.
That is class 4. This is your champion, Weatherdale Drive. This is our Division 1 drive. We have 2 divisions that are going to have class. Maryland Woodrow was our class 1 winner. Second place from that class in competition is Eleanor Henry, Golden Valley, Arizona. From class 2, Taylor Haynes of Yuma. And from Huntington, Wyoming, Hadley Owen from Class 3. Roseburg, Oregon, Allison Zerron. And Marion Lobo from Oakdale, California. Class 4. Our winner there was Colton Severa, followed by Shaylin Peter of Washington campus. This is your rundown Division 1 drive with our judge, Mr. Colton Furlong.
Good first edition of the Weatherman deal here. The first two new lambs, a lot of good. We spoke about it a fair amount. They look, they're not quite, they're show ready probably. If we look down here and get 3 and 4, just females in their own right. I appreciate those views, and I think you do consider to be proud to be sporting them around the ring. But these two new lambs here just are a little further along, and so they're a little more show ready. Now, if you step back and really break these deals down, Class 3 and Class 4. Balance-wise, the one in Class 3 is actually nice for balance in Class 4. Why? Because the rack lays down here a little better. The rack shape of the Class 4 piece is actually almost too big. It's too pronounced. It stands up too much. And there's more belly and more flank in the shoe down here in 3. So balance-wise, I'd give that one the edge. I step behind him. Holy cow, where's the beast? That one at 4 is crazy, wild, big rib, big-ended, and extremely just muscular and terminal and unique. In terms of stoutness and feature, the last class has the edge, no doubt. You get him out in motion. This one's just a little bit lethargic in the way she goes. She pulls her head down slightly, a little choppy in motion, tucks her chin slightly. This one is just freer, more fluid, longer striding. And I think, at the end of the day, I like a good skeleton one. And I ask myself the question, even though there's some balance advantage there, there's some give and take. If I had the opportunity to flush just one of these sheets, which one do I consider to be the most dynamic, game-changing one? And even though there's some little things I was tweaking at you in the last class, wow, there is some absolute wow factor, man-eater features in that thing. And skeletally, I rate her as the better time. She's going to get the nod. Congratulations. This decision is that close. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, to make this decision, because we love to give them all banners in this regard, because they're quality stock, and I think they deserve it. The U-Land, again, the young lady silver U is awfully not. But if I'm frank about it, when we get them out in motion, the one behind her, boy, she can flat, scoot around the ring. She's high-headed, she is flexible, she is freer moving, she is longer striding. She just appeals to me more so, particularly in motion. And I don't know if that one appeals to me more while it's either. I do know when I step behind it, it's for pins that determine we've already set it. The bottom line is, skeletally, that one draws me in when we walk them out around the ring, and I'm a sucker for a good looking one, particularly while they're walking around the ring. This one will be reserved. Congrats. We're not going to let that one stand any longer, but make sure further along. Congratulations. Keep cutting out of the second class here, could be fourth overall.
They say what on a product?
It's an interesting decision here, probably as challenging as any. I'm probably pulling out a little bit of a crystal ball here and making a projection. There's just some skeletal features in that baby down there in the first class that I think are good and really draw me in more so. And I see the good here, young lady. There's a lot of good here. There's a tremendous amount of good here. Just the pin width, the shape of ribs, the skeletal makeup of this class 1 team, even though she is green and green, I think that one deserves a top 5 slot, so we'll give her the nod. Congratulations.
We'll have those division results momentarily, and then we'll go into our second division, the Weather Dams, of the Class 5. Our Division 1 champion, Colton Lavera, followed by Shaylin Banger and Allison Zubon. Taylor Hayes and Tiffin World. There is one of Class 5 in the ring down in Class 5, starting our second division of Weather Dam. We'd like to thank our arena sponsors, Agrodime, All Flesh, Already Elliott Program, Bell Case Bells, Big Weather, Super Rock, Bigger Livestock, Empire Power Systems, Glam Jam. You gotta believe our livestock here, Champagne Weather. That's your other livestock system. It's the most standards. Weaver Livestock, Factory Supply, Sullivan Supply, Schroeder Showstock of Ohio, Nutrition by Science, Dr. Secrets, KD Livestock, Show Supplies, KDS Backland, and Fit and Bubble Monster. If you are interested in one of the banners, you can purchase those for $50. Let's all be good citizens and pay for them and not take them.
All right, another good class to sort through here. There's some really unique things. I told the young lady that's going third, when they're just standing there, it's painful to put that one third, but when we walk them, that one's third because the front end and her balance is a little bit off. So we go up here to the lamb, whose underlying allows them to be more correct in the balance. Compositionally, though, the unit leads the deal off is more correct. Leader, crisper in her composition. She's one that presents a pretty good side view image. Her lines are parallel. Her hip is level and correct. Her back leg is reasonably good. You wish you could just raise her a little more hand, feet, her head, legs, everywhere. And she does get, she's down if you want to pull her back down again. And there's a freckle towards the center of her back leg, but I think that one's awfully nice. She's definitely the best option, and I appreciate we bring her out. I think we just follow the time to establish for the winner, and the sound made kind of call fronted here with body, with the plank. He could be a little leaner. The backside of her shoulder there stands up a little tall. We need to shove that down in her. And you lamb and maybe you can have just a slightly prettier back leg, but again, it's a matter of balance and blade angle and get her over the super stout, round cage, big hip, the one that stands in third. Once again, though, we walk her, unfortunately, that one's balance isn't quite as good. Her blade angle isn't quite as good. Really solid, uniformly balanced underline one that comes forth in this class. She has some rolling things, and ULAN, though, where I knocked her in motion because of the set of her back leg is a little bit sharp. The young man here with a real good hand feature one. I think ULAN is great in shaping her cage. She's actually parallel in her line. We get her out of motion, her front end drops a little bit. And she's like the one right in front of her has a bit of a single set to her back leg, but a good class from top to bottom. Congratulations, team.
Congratulations to Claire Marietta, followed by Sophie Young, Claire Walden, Ashton Johnson, Alan Owens, Audrey Cole, Ella Figurata, and Lane Keeler. Class 7. Class 6 in the ring now. Class 6 in the ring. 135 to 137 pounds, your weight range in this class. Our judge today is Colby Burke of Seward, Nebraska. Burks has been in the competitive livestock industry for many, many years. His father judged coached numerous junior college livestock teams, and was fortunate to be a member of the winning team of 5 of 7 national junior college contests. Is also a reserve champion team at Iowa State.
How much was my money, right? Take side over, she's dying for bison.
The horse race is for the battle for a second because I'm already up and the one in first, I like the Winter Sand Club. I think he's awfully good. That one is, other than maybe just being a handful excited, that deal is sound, round cage, true Lloyd and gift and stoutness, and then freedom of movement is extremely good too. I think that he wins fairly handedly, and that says a lot because it's a pretty big class. The battle for second is close to UM that gets in this spot. I think he is, even though he has her issues skeletally, he is more relaxed and able to blade. He typically has more set, which on the other hand, he has a hip pretty much set to the back leg. He's more flexible to the side. I actually prefer her line and levelness and, just her distribution, progression of depth. He has not quite as stout feature, maybe not quite as pretty to the front, tall fronted as the UM in third, but again, it's her line right there on the pan, and then her freedom and flexibility, even though we can see her stuff. Very feminine UM, very stout features, self-adjusted. It's close. Second and third is extremely close. The issue here is that one's simply too straight, primarily in a blade. Just needs to get out with more reach. The blade set back in and our back leg is also against straight too. If we place these straightly on structure, then one is fourth, each the ones in second and third. Because she is sounder. But I told the young man just standing right there, looking at her like that, it's hard for me to get her over second and third. She wasn't able to do that. She wants to pull her front down and slap her front end and breaking her hip point. And she just needs to be amplified everywhere to get her over the ones that are right up in front of her to make her facial around her too. A tremendous amount of good here. When the young man just plants that one right here, she was full rib. With scout features, let's go walking and square and walk around the ring. She just hits me as a woman to lead up and pretty up in her competition to get a little bit into her neck as well. This class, congratulations, Steve.
Congratulations to Emma Ward, followed by Amy Seaver, Claire Walters, Corbin Murray, Jordan Severa, John Martina, Laura Fulham, Kelly Nelson, Jenna Beck, Addison Friggett, and Wayne Warner. Up to class 6, class 7 in the ring now. Haley Bird, we need you to the staging area. Haley Bird, class 7. Your class is in the ring. Haley Bird, your class is in the ring. Haley Bird. Haley Bird, your class is in the ring. Class 7.
What is this supposed to look? Looks like a mouse. It was just $3 for that.
I'll be frank, I honestly fell in love with the winner straight away. I was two steps in the ring. I like that deal a fair amount. The decision between 2 and 3 here, we got a little shoulder, and that one right there, you can see a little bit of bone through that lower shoulder we'd like to clean up. But we'll get to that discussion. Why does this one come to the forefront for me? Well, I think she's easily, truly the most feminine. You talk about one that's sweet together vertically and horizontally in her front surface, while her cage is round, her neck is skinny, her skull features feminine, her blade is correct, her underlying progression is pretty good. She is crisp and correct in her composition. Her loin is thick, pins are wide. I use the tweak with here. She's quite as boxy looking maybe as the ones in 2 and 3. Maybe not, but I think that's the highest quality one. She's high stepping and good looking. Appreciate a lot about that view. The ones in 2 and 3, you can say are a little boxy, a little beefier looking type of stock. The U here, a couple million pieces I prefer. I do think her blade angle is a little more correct. Her back right here, her back is level, her hip joint hooked up is more correct. She is full of meat, she's full of squareness, has a little bit of shoulder, running downhill just a little bit of motion. There's a tremendous amount of good here. I'd be proud of this one, love owner. Her pins are wide. She is pretty good in terms of her balance. She is smoother in her lower shoulder. I read that one, mainly the number one discount there is her hip joint. She wants to pull her back down. Her hip joint hooked up is not good enough, and her spine is too easy in motion. Her blade angle is that slightly decision between 2 and 3. Good team. The one next to her, I love the white wool in that deal. I think she's extremely round bodied and well balanced. And the shorter young lady, I read that one with a pin straighter and tighter in motion. Her hip needs to be, her pin needs to be lifted, widened just a little bit. Tremendous amount of good in that seat right there. Same deal here. The terminal feature in this one is exceptional. In this display shield, you talk about glutes, you talk about expressive tall and smooth, frontage. It's expressive and correct in her composition of body. I step back and I study her. She just hits me a little hard middle, a little flatter, a full rib, not quite as big in terms of her bone diameter from back here. It's an awfully nice piece to stand in this hole. Good class.
Class 8 now entering the ring. Class 8 now entering the ring. Need to be the staging area. First or second up, rubber dance and staging area. Goat exhibitors. You need to have your does ready. We will roll right on in to the goat show immediately following our Supreme Drive. Emma Woods. And Haley Seaver. Haley Seaver, we need you to the staging area. Class 6, first and second place in the staging area.
Really good class once again, and there are things the ones in third, fourth, and fifth do that are better than the ones in first and second. I think it's a matter of skeletal quality. And yeah, you can break every single one of these teams down skeletally. None of them are perfect in this case, but the ones in first and second are sounder options than the ones that we have in third, fourth, and fifth, in my opinion. The young lady she went that leads the deal off, her underline is just a hint off, and her front joint angle can be set back in her blade. She does toe out just a little bit, but I do think she's just prettier while in motion. Her flexibility, her fluidity of motion is as good as anything in this entire class. Her page is round, her back is square, her hips are big, and her back leg sits down correctly. Her balance is, I'm going to say, good enough, and it's close enough, and then that coupled with her soundness, it's definitely prettier than the one in second. Now, could her high presentation be a little better? The brightness and the whiteness and high presentation here, this one in second is definitely more appealing. The whiteness in her eye channel is more appealing. Definitely round ribs, fluid in motion. She just doesn't strike me quite as pretty. I think she drops the front end a little bit. In terms of around her tail, I think she's just wider and square, and a little neater there. And she too is probably just okay at best in terms of her underline. I'm going to call her acceptable. It's very close fair. Those are sounder options, like I said. Excuse me. There's a lot of exotic features in the young lady's music from the neck. And again, you can make arguments for the ones that are slower, just a little bit streamlined, if you will, taller fronted. I like her elevation up front. I think she's true like Victor Lloyd. She's a little bit stouter in terms of her bone and bone diameter appearance from the side. It's her elevation up front that makes it different. It's definitely her bone and size, the foot size advantage over the 1 and 4. The 1 and 4 is definitely very muscular and very terminal. She looks a bit crossy for me, and then when in motion, she runs downhill. In terms of this one being very good, her lines and one in fifth is exceptional. When I step back, she's a little bit crossy looking. Her tail head points up, her voice breaks a little bit. She looks just a little bit harsh, a little bit terminal in terms of her axis down. And like I said, we can just counter up a little bit. Good class from top to bottom.
To third, Kansas native Anna Woodstone, followed by Cassidy Lim, third place, Piper Woodstone, Jane Penner, third place, Lexi Hunt, followed by Zach Lester, Lane Parker, Kinsey Polska, Austin Evans, Abigail Dole, and Lane Parker, and Bailey Head. And Mason Kaler. Division 2 drive. Claire Marietta. Emma Woods, Allison Sandy, Anna Woodstone, Sophie Young, Haley Seymour, Amy Bird, Cassidy Lynn. Our judge today, Kobe Birch, Seymour, Nebraska.
Another fun one to go through here. It's always a lot of fun as a judge when you see something that makes you smile. And I really am one that I'm sure like many of you appreciate looking at extremely good ones. Class 1 winner, the solid sheep. Class 2, we've already talked about how much we love that one. Talked about how much we love the one in Class 3. And Class 4 is a little solid sheep. Not quite the uniqueness as 3 and 2, right? It comes down to Class 2 and Class 3. They both actually look a lot alike. They're fairly similar. You talk about kind of elite looking ones, round cage, very shallow, ones that are extremely feminine. Probably the one that's maybe in terms of overall stoutness, even in her skull, her neck diameter, her cage is groin, and her hip is actually just a hip leveler, and maybe a bit bigger. All those things just have a bit more to them, or hump, if you will. But when I get them out in motion, that one is good, not bad. But what Class 3 doesn't that, to me, just draws you in. You talk about high-headed, looks like a cobra ready to strike while that one's parading around the ring. I think that she's exceptionally high quality. She's pretty good everywhere else. Those two are elite. They stand out amongst a very good crowd here. The highest quality one, and like I've always said, I like one. I'm a sucker for one that looks extremely good in motion. This young lady, she will be great. Yeah. I am a big fan of the one that comes out of the second behind that U. I think there's a tremendous amount of good there. I've been proud of that one. I'd love to be an owner of that one. But I also think the one that was right in front of it there was nip and tuck with our brand, and we're going to make Class 2 your reserve brand. Congratulations. Obviously, the next one comes in line for consideration. I think it's probably clear my next favorite in the group. Even though there's a hint of shoulder, there's a tremendous amount of good in this UM that was second in Class 3. She'll be third overall. Congratulations. So when we step back and study and consider our fourth overall placing, I just studied balance. I just looked at joint angularity and correctness. I just see a little more uniqueness here in terms of line and full reach and crisp compositional merit. I think it's looked like UM at the front of the line, even though we can just make her a little handier in her feature and her skull on the front legs. I think there's a lot of uniqueness in her, and she brings a lot to the table. She should be fourth overall. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Your division results shortly. We'll go into class number 9 now. 154 to 157 pounds weight range in this class. Class 9. Class 9.
How long?
Do
you need a new charger pack? How does that work? Oh, you don't have an iPhone. You don't have an iPad charger either.
Division 2. This will be our last division, Division 3, class number 9 in the ring now. Class number 9. Class 10, you need to be to the staging area. Class 10 to the staging area. Class 10 to the staging area. rodeo queen for the Southern New Mexico State Fair, and your name is Cora, we have your jacket at the announcer stand.
Class here, there are things out to 1 in 3rd that she's probably the most, truly the most angular and underlined.
Mary.
The 1 in 2nd is the wildest looking one. I mean, holy torpedo, that thing is big butted. The 1 in 1st is a little bit broken in her loin. I just think the total package, the real discount is I wish we would have managed her leg wool. Being frank with you, her leg wool looks a little bit plucked out. I just think that's the best of both worlds. We have one, the issue with the 1 in 3rd is she's the narrowest 10. This 1 in 1st is a big 10, she's big loin, she's muscular, she's salmon. Her lines are parallel where the 1 in 2nd, she's a little tucked up in her flank and a little bit over the top in terms of, I wish she's a little more feminine muscle, I guess I'd like to say. The 1 in 1st just ties everything together. She parades around the ring pretty sound. Balanced, reasonably correct, and muscular. She just kind of checks all those boxes. And even though her leg will be a little better, her hip will be a little better, that is the best option. This one looks like she eats other show sheep for breakfast. Monster leg, monster muscle. She to me is a little bit tight in her hind gut, a little bit too round in her muscle, and maybe just that makes her a little bit more terminal looking than ideal, and that's why we go ahead and put that 1 in 2nd. The 1 in 3rd, again, if you want to just break it down on femininity, in terms of round body shape, angularity, being shoved together in terms of her blade and her chest, awesome sheep there. Her pigs, like I said, are a little narrow. Her height presentation can be fresher, she's a little gray looking, and then her body length relative to her height is a little bit off in terms of her proportionality. And the 1 in 4th here is definitely a balanced cheek. She's extremely wide-made. I can told the young lady though, when we walked that one, she just strikes me as a little bit chubbier, a little bit plainer. I think if we leaned her up in her composition, that would help her. But we could make her a little bit stouter. She's missing a little bit of wool on the backside of her front leg. That can make her a little bit better. Now, the one next in line is extremely big ribbed and good in her hamster feature. I discounted her when we nut around the motion. It's just the set of her back leg needs to be a little bit more correct. Good class. Congratulations.
Julia Hernandez from Bakersfield, California. Your lamb needs to be to the staging area. Julia Hernandez from Bakersfield, California. You should be in the staging area. Your class is entering the ring. California. Julia Hernandez, Bakersfield, California.
I don't know. I guess. Oh, hell yeah, real cool. Like,
159 to 167, your weight range. Julia Hernandez, Bakersfield, California. Julia Hernandez. Julia Hernandez, your class is in the ring. Congratulations to Louisville, Nevada native Maya Shakespeare winning that last class. Jesse Emerson, Catherine Olson, Claire Urana, Bonnie Cadet, Anna Lecture, McLean Michael, Emily Parks, Lexi McCaffrey, Kaylee Eddington, and Ella Urana. Winners of that last class. Class 10 in the ring now. Class 10.
No, I figured that out. I was like, we didn't have any of their use.
I'll get it. I'll get it.
think this class breaks down with a class winner that, if there were cuts placed on the class, that'd be a pretty good one placed right here. That says a lot. It's a good class, not taking anything away from the exhibitors and standards from each different lady, but I honestly I think 10 times out of 10, this one wins this deal. Pretty nice sheet, balanced, opened up, fairly crisp and correct compositionally, but yet she's got just enough fat on her to make her smooth and correct. And her wood is big, pins are big. There's a hint, maybe she swings that back leg out a little bit, but she's really pretty dang good in motion. Her balance is much better. Her composition and leanness is much better than the one that stands in second. Good sheet to lead off. Gets here in second, does so because in motion, I think she has the most structural merit. She's still up-fronted, it's fairly stout, fairly correct in the muscularity. Chest floor depth can be changed. It can be leaned up a little bit compositionally. Some of the most unique features are the one that stands down here in third. She's giant-legged. I love the pigmentation in this shoe. Her skull, her legs, really slick skin. Her freshness and presentation is tremendous. I just can't get a real good read on her skeletally. She looks a little squirrely when she walks around. She just comes apart in terms of her spine and her back leg. Once you squat down, it looks a little bit sickly in terms of, or the set of her back leg looks like it has a bit of extra set to it, I guess, but an awfully nice sheet in a lot of ways. If you want to talk about just basics of grooviness, moderate, big rib, easy flushing, balance from the side, this one checks all those boxes. She's a little bit more refined, a little bit crossy looking in terms of her bone work. She's a little bit shorter neck, tighter, like to loosen her up and lean her down in her composition. The final view is round body and good in her composition. You see when she leans there, she's a little bit straight in her voice as well. It's more evident when you get her out in motion. Good view though, good class from top to bottom.
$168 to $172. $168 to $172, your weight range in this class. Result 6, Class 10, Livestock, Livestock, Arizona. Followed by Kelsey Workman. Designated with the wife, your Adam, John Martino, Evan Schneider, Austin Evans, Jacob Booby, Dylan Senor, Emma Beck, J.C. LaBelle, Ivy Chambers, and Julia Hernandez.
I'm like, Mom, I'll talk to you in a few days. Just let me know. I'm 19 years old. It's fine.
What happened, Luis?
I usually sorry.
I think another fairly straightforward decision for your class leader. Just like the previous class, I think we have a pretty good cut for this one. If there are a couple little things you could tweak the blade, it would be set back or neck to be pulled up out of the top side of the blade, the neck to be a stitch longer. That one is pretty darn good. For width of skeleton, for width of rib, how wide she is when you step behind her, coupled with the lines to the side. You know, there's things I criticize. She's still the best looking one in motion. That's a high-end U that definitely will be considered when we bring it back here in a little bit. Very nice sheep. The U lamb that comes in second, really the battle is for second. I think the she lamb is a little softer body, a little more feminine looking in her skull, her muzzle, her neck diameter, her body is simply just a little softer, and that's probably the difference to me. Now, she could be leaned up in her composition. You touch the rib, needs to be leaned down slightly. The bone can be a little bit larger in diameter. A really stout featured one at third. That's really a big advantage in this shoe. She's stouter everywhere. At the same time, she needs a hint more refinement of the skull and neck. And at the same time, she's not as soft in her abdomen as the unit leads off. But when it's stout, sound has a tremendous amount of good. I told the young man who's standing here when we get her neck up out of her butt, that's a good chest in the body, a good balanced one as there is. When we walk her though, she comes apart a little bit and runs downhill. The one down here that stands stiff, when we stand her there, she looks pretty close to balancing. She's lean and muscular. In motion is where her balance is off, and then she tucks her back leg up underneath her just a little bit. Good clap.
Thanks, Ed.
First and second place, class 9, 10, and 11. First and second place, class 9, 10, and 11. We'll meet you here for our division drive.
I don't know. You want an American you know like how
in the pocket of this coat is open. I still it must be in the other pocket. You can grab it. Do you mind? No, it's fine.
holy crap.
I'd say plug this in for a little bit. Mary was bringing us a charger for this. Mary was going to bring us a charger for this.
Closer race for this class. Tremendous. There's a ton of merit in a number of these youths here. Just the most that comes in the UN here. The final walk kind of makes a difference. He just gets out when you call in front of a freer longer striding type of sheet. He holds her spine up more correctly. Maybe you can say she can take short, rounded in her hip. Her hock actually pulls in slightly, but just her freedom of movement, correctness of spine. And then you step back, and she is the most correct in terms of progression of depth from her elbow to her navel and on back. And then she can be opened up and round rib. You can lean her down a little bit compositionally, but that one right there is pretty nice. And I thought she might be a winner for the time in the face. And behind these youths is a huge rack, really flat hip. I like that about her. Pretty good back leg presentation. A little more shotgun, or a little more streamlined in her middle. And in motion, you're even a little straighter bladed. Her spine gives a little more than ideal. A pretty dang nice view though to be sitting in second. Young man, you got a nice view that's actually slightly sounder than the one in second. Her freedom of movement, her spine. In this case, she could actually be a little bit fleshier because she looks a little bit tight in her hind gut and her flanks, a little rougher than her top. She just looks like she gives up some of the stoutness and overall mass of the winners up above. Same case with the one in fourth. It's actually balanced and correct from the side. She gives up the hands, stifles, stoutness, and a broody, big rib round cage one that comes next line. Bigger in her skeleton and more flexible in her lower joints to move up in class.
Congratulations, winner of that class, Molly Kennedy. Jenna Frank, Adrian Fowler, Sarah Coker, Molly Kennedy, Peyton Taylor, Bob Saunders, Addison Gillette, Elaine Parker. That completes our class. That will have our Division 3 drive. Following this division drive, we'll have our Supreme drive for our grand overall. In Division 3, from Class 9, Nadia Shakespeare and Justin Emerson. From Class 10, Piper Wiska and Susan Hortzcott. Class 11, Ronnie Bull and Claire Uretta and Molly Kennedy and Jenna Schneid. Class 3, Division 3 drive. Following this, we will have our Supreme drive or rubber dams. So if you were a division or reserve division champion, you need to be to the staging area. We'll start our goat show immediately after our Supreme drive.
Congratulations to the kids out here that brought us a heck of a set of ewes in our final weather dam weight division. Young lady gets to the first class because that's just genuinely a nice sheep. She is what she is. I don't want to sound a little harsh on her. We're going to get her length or her shoes on and whatnot. That's just talking. That's why she got to the top of that class. So we get her out here up against some pretty darn good competition, and maybe doesn't quite measure up. So the two behind us, but that is a very nice unit. You should be proud of her, young lady. mighty lot are out for us to look at. Comments on Class 2 and on Class 3. I thought both of those ewe lambs won their respective classes pretty handily. I think the one in the second class is probably a little bit taller fronted, it's a little bit longer neck, and probably more correction of late ankle. Those are comparisons to the ewe in the third class. The criticism of her is that she sets up just a little bit in her withers. She's a little bit longer in her distance, that vertical distance in her shoulder. And she just has a little bit of play up and down in her spine when we get her out in motion. She'll swing that back leg out just a freckle when you get out behind her. But that one is a very nice view. And in addition to that, talking about comparisons between 2 and 3, she's probably or uniform in her lines, whereas the one in Class 3 is progressively deepened, right? It's a little shorter, a little shallower in her chest and more progressive from her elbow to her navel and on back. You step behind them, there's really no comparison. Now that one in her own right is pretty dang opened up and square. This one's an absolute man-eater and appears to have eaten other goat sheep for breakfast in terms of mass and in terms of width. My criticism, just like before, I would like to tweak that sheep. I read her as just a freckle straightener blade. Her neck, even though the neck diameter looks and reads feminine, her neck length could be slightly longer, and we can lift that neck up out of the top side of her shoulders slightly. That ewe lamb is better in that regard. We don't want to not talk about the one down here in the fourth class. She's a very nice ewe in her own right, but I do think, again, these two in the middle are the elite ones. At the end of the day, I think to myself, that one there is still pretty dang good in motion. There are features in both that I like, but what are some of the more extreme, unique features? This one is actually more angular, she's shorter bladed, she's shallower chested, and all the while, she looks like an absolute man-eater from the rear view. It's going to be the most powerful, widest constructed one that we've looked at all day long. I'm going to go with Class 3 for your brand. Congratulations. Pretty close. I appreciate you liking one out of Class 2 a bunch. It's going to be reserved.
Congratulations to our next winner, Riley Coleman. I will serve the magnificent paper Livestock.
And then we're going to go down here to your heavyweights for third overall. So nice. You go. And third.
See, you should have kept recording.
attention. Showing record. Everyone and Tiger Livestock. Our guest today is Coach Burke. Stewart, Nebraska. No exhibitors. Class 1 and 2 of the bells. You need to be at the staging area. Class 1 and 2 of the bells. You need to be in the staging area.
Hold on for 5 seconds. Yes, ma'am. Thanks for me. Thank you. No problem.
First thing to do is give the kids a nice round of applause for bringing manuals. Really impressive that I would personally be extremely proud of if I raised one of these children, help a kid here and show one of these kids. They all are very, very nice. And honestly, I think if you take them and bless them and give them a look good, you can probably make yourself pretty famous in a hurry. Just briefly, let's just keep, we talked about it, the silver ewe lamb, her width and density and forehead and hip and size and soundness is exceptional. This gave her proportionality. She's a little tough in her hind gut. If you look at her frankly and honestly, that's where we need to tweak that meal. Needs to be a little softer in her hind gut. The interesting piece in the middle in terms of just femininity and quality, you talked about one that looks like, I use the phrase and expression of cobra ready to strike, very alluring to look at in her length of neck, the diameter of the neck, uniformity of neck diameter, her lower shoulder, her chest, her forearm, her crispness of handle. A ewe that could be just raised up in her tail setting slightly. I see a hint of roll there in her hip, and maybe just a fraction alongside it, but one that definitely has progression of depth. And then when out in motion, that one is extremely good looking and high quality. In terms of just pure mass, this one looks like she is 2 feet in 1. Extremely wide open. Her side view is good, her progression of depth. The same criticisms as we just talked about a little bit ago, and I think if we look at them honestly and frankly, her neck length is a little bit shorter. She's not quite as good even in her neck diameter. It's just a little bit closed up in the center part of her neck, where that one's uniformity of neck diameter is more appealing, and then her blade angle is more correct. So there is some interesting differences here. The back row has some very impressive features. At the end of the day, as a judge, I just have to, like I mentioned yesterday, I just have to hold true to kind of that instinct, where it was from, just years of hauling up and down the road with the Casper College Livestock 17 or whatever it was, and instinctively, I like one that's exceptional in motion, that's extremely good looking, and even though this is a tough decision, and I understand that there's going to be different decisions made here, I have to find that what instinctively draws me in, and my two favorites are, for me, the highest quality ones that are pretty darn exceptional to look at on the stand, and in motion come out of your middleweight division. They're going to be granted reserve. Congratulations.
I'm only hauling 2 pieces.
I thought it was pleasant drinking here at the heavyweight. Just want to feel to me or balance a little bit more than this one. Congratulations, young man. Congratulations.
Class 1 goes to the staging area. Class 1 goes to the staging area.